All right, guys, good morning to you once again. Today is 30th of July, 2025. Crazy Market Talk with KEL. Crazy, where logic meets profits. All right, guys, good morning to you. Good morning to you, Jerry. All right, so we will start the session right now. And of course, disclaimer applied as usual, right? And do note later on, we will have something very interesting. We will be talking about the KCB technique and what are the numbers to look out for gold, Dow Jones, S&P, Nasdaq, so that you can use this for your trading. And of course, we also talk about the crude oil that went up by 69 to $69 last night itself, right? So before that, let's go into the usual macro picture, yeah? Let's go. All right, so first of all, the S&P 500 retreat from the record high level. The market gap up on Monday and due to the ECB and US deal, whereby US had decided to give the tariff on EU for 15%. So that morning itself, we saw the market going up. But after that, as expected itself, right, I said again, even though that is a good news whereby from 30% to 15%, but it's still 15%. So the market kind of realized that and started to sell all the way, give back all the profits in the morning. So again, that is why we keep on saying this is very important to always try and believe the OP rule. The OP rule stands for itself. If the market wants to buy, it will stay above the OP. But if the market wants to sell, regardless whatever the fundamental news, the market will go below OP. So remember that. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Okay, can everybody see my PowerPoint slide? I mean, sorry, can you guys see all my this my screen, right? Can see, right? Jerry, can you see my screen? Yeah, can see, right? As in you can see the S&P 500, right? Yeah, Jonathan, can you see that? Just to double check. Okay, thank you. All right. So the thing is this, let's talk about yesterday market. The S&P dropped because everybody is bracing for the FOMC meeting that will be released. The news will be out by 2 a.m. this morning. All right. So in the wee hours at 2 a.m., the news will be out. Now it's a very high chance that there will be um, no cutting of rates. The market is just speculating there's a rate cut. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Yeah. Let me give you a reason why I said that. Now, first of all, you see under the Fed watch, right? So we are about 16 hours away from the news, and it's like 96.9% chance that there'll be no rate cut. Okay. The next rate cut itself will likely be on the 17th of September. Therefore, you can see 63.4%. That means that it's more than 50%. So based on this, it's a very, very high chance. Okay, I don't think that will happen. And of course, there's one more person to be very sure. If you go to this under this X, okay, X, there's previously Twitter. Okay, let me just bring it in right now. Okay, this guy called Nick. Yeah, Timorous. Tim. This guy is actually the mouthpiece of what this mouthpiece of this Federal Reserve. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Get verified. It's okay. Let me bring his thing itself. Okay, this is one thing that he texted 11 hours ago. The June JOLTS survey suggests the same slow to higher, slow to fire economy return. So by all these little things he shared itself, right? You look at it, okay, he's basically saying that everything now, the hiring itself is not fantastic. So to cut interest rate itself may not be the best thing to happen within today, but most likely there will be a this interest rate cut later on. You see that job opening in construction and manufacturing have been holding steady after declining. So it's like very positive side itself. So when he do that, there's a very high chance he's informing us that there's a very low chance there'll be a rate cut coming in today. Okay, so this is what I'm saying right now. And you can see that he's always very positive. The home prices declining in more cities, but they don't cover much other stuff. Yeah, so this from Nick, yeah. Okay. All right. Now, we all know that the US and China trade talks is ongoing without any extension of the tariff truce, as the Trump administration is now weighing the option. So, seemingly, there is a little bit positivity in the deal between US and China. Yeah. But then again, they say that if there's no extension being by deadline, then the US tariff will hit back again. So, again, it's our typical scare techniques that the US is always playing with it, and China side just typically just don't answer them. Because once you answer them itself, right, you're putting yourself in a chopping board, and then they can say whatever they want. So when you not say anything itself, right, it make the fools back on the US side. So that's how China deals with that. Huh? Okay. So you can see that the trade negotiator Li Changdang says that the two sides agreed to push for extension, and then there's simply that's all. All right. So of course, the word that Bissell like to use is boomerang, is that boomeranging. So that it means that if the thing doesn't come back, he will whack the tariff up again. So you see the trade team will meet in 90 days again. So you can see it's always like that. Yeah. Now, one thing to note, MAS, right? Singapore MAS warns of slowdown in the second half of the year, and it keeps monetary policy steady. Now, this actually tells you what I feel, right? Number one, there will be inflation hitting Singapore very soon. Number two, we will not do as well as you can see from there. And third, that's the reason why are we receiving our CDC voucher, okay? So Singapore Doge, yeah, really a Doge, a technical recession in the second quarter with GDP expecting to be beaten, all right? So you can see that when we say we have a technical recession, this is what I meant, yeah? Okay, so let's take a look what he says over here. Okay, so let me just bring it in. All right, so Singapore GDP grew at 4.3%, so it's decently okay. But why did he say it dodged the this recession, right? So let's take a look over here. This one was back in July 13. Okay. Okay, so the thing is this, Singapore economy grew 1.4% in the second quarter, avoiding a technical recession as it reversed the 0.5 contraction that it had recorded in the first 3 months of the year. So it was supposed to be another quarter of contraction, but instead it came out positive. So that's why a technical recession. So what is this about? A technical recession is commonly defined as two consecutive quarter-over-quarter decline in the country GDP. Okay, so US actually have already one negative, but of course they massage the number. So they get just one more quarter and they'll hit a technical recession. Yeah. All right, so like the Fed is not only to cut interest rate, but the meeting will be packed with intrigue. Definitely, there'll be a lot of questions being asked. So watch out for the post FOMC meeting, whereby the journalists will be interviewing Jerome Powell. Now, gold price basically move away from the lower end because now thing is this, the market is waiting for the macro data and also looking out for the FOMC. Now, I said that, right, there's a very high chance that Fed won't cut interest rate, but most likely they will inform the market there will be a cut in September. So when that happens itself, the dollar is expected to pull back a little bit and that cause gold to trade higher. So that's the reason why I've been buying some gold recently itself, right? And of course, crude oil price went higher because Trump gave Russia 10 days to strike a deal with Ukraine. All right, 10 days. And of course, we all know that the Russian doesn't play the ball. He will from their own border. So if that is the case, Trump will likely to save his face, he will definitely do new sanction on the Russian crude oil, and then of course, that will have a repercussion on the global crude oil prices, right? So that is the thing, and why yesterday we talked about crude oil. Okay, so that is a macro picture for this morning. I know there's a bit of mouthful there, but main thing is this: with a short time period like this, you get to learn everything immediately. Not bad, right? Okay. So let's see what happened now in gold prices. Gold has pulled back from the opening price. Let's take a look. All right, this morning the gold price opened at 3326 and went at a high of 3333, and then now it's pulling back. Now, one thing to note, the gold has this big issue here that both KSI and KCX are actually bearish right now, so it's very prone to bit of selling along the day. So it's something you must take note, yeah. Number two, that you can see right now, even though that there's a pivot one at 3320, but the market must stay above OP for the pivot power to come in. So without the market staying above the opening price, it's going to be a bit tough for the gold to go up. I suspect that there will be support at 3320 because that is the pivot one. So watch out for that as a first support. MLP is at 3320, so it's a stack between MLP and pivot. So that means that this will formulate a very strong law of attraction. That means that the market will most likely trade down to 3320 first, then stabilize. Then we will see how it goes from there. At the moment now, there's no need to call for a big buy because the market is still going down, color is still red, KSI red, KCX blue, so there is no reason to be buying too heavily at this moment right now. Now, of course, if there's going to be a recovery because of what I said, then there's a very good chance that gold will be trading 3344. That is the MA30 for the short term itself, right? So that is the context for gold for today, yeah? So take note of that. Now, the Dow Jones is a bit easier to understand. The Dow Jones now has a color change from yellow to red on the day chart. So that is actually a symbolic to tell you that the market will prefer to sell. But the market has to trade below OP first. The OP for today is 44,621. All right, so we're now about 60 points higher. As long as the market stays below 44,621, then there will be real selling. If not itself, there will be no selling. There will be no selling. You will just wait for a while. The upside now we can see is going for the MLP. And if I'm not wrong, the MLP is a very nice number. Oops, sorry. Okay, 44,721. So the market likelihood will be going for this MLP, right? So it's about 100 points exactly from the current opening price to the MLP 100 points, yeah? All right, so that will be the first target for the Dow Jones. And of course, if we can go higher, the next target will be the pivot one at 44,777. Now, one thing to note, the KSI is green, the KCX is black, so which means that if the market chooses to stay above OP, the market will be pretty strong, yeah? So now you can see why the downside was just a bit of like 10, 20 points, but the upside now is more than 60, 70 points. So that is why the KSI is a very good indication when you put it together with the opening price. Then the whole thing will make some sense over here. Yep. Okay, so this is the Dow Jones. And then let's look at something else. Now we have the US crude oil. I'll cover that in the KCB later, but just to show you that even though we have a very big rally that's 2 days, but and the KCX was blinking at the bottom to inform me that there's a strong buy coming in, but the KSI is still red in color, so there will be a ding dong here. But once the market finds strength, it will most likely go all the way up to here, and that is $73. Now, of course, I don't think it will happen in a single day, but then again, just in case, who knows? Anything can happen. For oil, it went up by $2 in a single day, so who knows? It may go up by $4 in a single day. Now, I already told you guys that if you're looking at crude oil, just do a sort of simple thing. You just take the 50% mark. Okay, 50% mark is somewhere around here. Oh, sorry. Oh, gosh, deleted the wrong file. Haha, what? Yeah, I couldn't get the FIBO number, which is a 50%, so it should be somewhere around here. Okay, here we go. All right, so which means that crude oil in the near term has to move up all the way to $73.20 plus cent. Then we can see a crude oil blasting up. If not, this will be the first resistance for crude oil. Yeah. So guys, if you're going to buy crude oil, then you should hold your position. Only take profit until you see 73.20. That means in between from now till then, if you're holding crude oil, don't sell, let it run. Yeah. And once it hits 73.20, if you see very strong and fundamental is there, let it hold again until you see $77. Now, of course, again, I don't know what will bring the price higher, but if the Russians retaliate and tell the US off, who knows? We may just have a little thing happening between US and Russia instead. Okay, so that's my personal take and why things are happening. I always believe that things happen in the financial market is definitely for a reason. It can't be out of nowhere. Eh? Okay, so this is the dollar yen chart right now, and the dollar yen is actually pulling back, as you can see. Where's my pivot zone? Okay, so today the pivot mode 2 is on 48.59. This morning the market opened at 148.42. So by right itself is below OP. It's a classic sell signal. So the dollar yen, very good chance will come back down to 147.71, right? It most likely will be coming down to this price, right? So traders who are doing the selling of dollar yen can do it because you can see the KSI, the upslope of the KSI tells you that the selling has accelerated, yeah? So traders, you can actually go for the sell later for the dollar yen. And of course, last one, I want to do Bitcoin. I know a lot of my friends in Vietnam is doing a lot of Bitcoin. So I'm going to show you some Bitcoin chart. Now, I know that everybody's waiting for the diamond because the last time the diamond that came out was here, right? That was the last diamond. It was back in July, early July. And the thing is this, why until now there's no diamond? Because there's no signal for us. So there's no signal for us. We just had to wait. And you can see without a signal, the market have been sideways for many, many days. So guys, once the signal comes in with a diamond, I think we should really utilize the diamond and trade according to plan. Okay. So that is the answer for this Bitcoin. At the moment now, Bitcoin has no much reason to move anywhere. So it has to be a breakout point whereby you breach the previous high at this, if I'm not wrong, 3,500, right? Okay, I mean, sorry. This is the Bitcoin at about 119 level. So the thing is, this Bitcoin has to break past all the way to trigger this high, like 123 level. Then we can see movement. If not itself, I still think it'll be a sideways for a while for this Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay, guys, that will be all for this morning's session. We covered quite a fair bit. We'll take a short 1 minute break. We'll be back itself to do the KCB. Don't move away. This is going to be helpful for those who really want the technical level to trade in the market. Okay, see you guys in 1 minute time. Okay.